What interested you in the military in the first place?
Well,
How'd you get into the military?
originally, so I went to military school for like 6 months, but that didn't really pique my interest in joining. I just went there because I needed credits, 8 credits, 6 months sounded like a pretty good deal to me. I was falling behind in high school. I was on the verge of not being able to get my diploma, you know what I mean, if I didn't go to this thing. So, I went there, I did my time in there, military school, learned a lot about discipline, and lots of drill and ceremony, lots of DNC. But
What year did you go in?
I was,
Freshman year?
I think it was like my sophomore, junior year, like in between that time. So, sophomore year was when I went to military school, and I was there for 6 months, like July to December.
Did
And
you have to sleep there?
yeah, I slept there. I did everything there.
Or how many roommates you had in your
Oh,
room?
50.
Oh, it was a dorm.
It was like a barracks kind of thing. We called it the Bay.
Squad bag.
Yeah, our whole platoon was in there. So we had 3 platoons. There was 2 male platoons and 1 female platoon.
Wow.
The female platoon had 30 people. The male platoons all originally started out with 50 or something, but people quit because they they couldn't handle it. So,
They couldn't handle being away from home.
well, that and like all of the yelling and all that, they just couldn't handle it, I guess,
How
or they
did you
got in
handle it?
trouble. At first, like I thought I was gonna like pussy out or whatever. I thought I wasn't gonna do good, but I actually thrived in that environment surprisingly. Cause like normally I thought of myself as not as strong as I actually was, like mentally.
Did you find that you were more surprised in your strength, but really your instructors weren't? It's almost like they already knew you were strong.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it happened. Like I remember I'd get put on my face a lot more than everyone else, and it wasn't because I got in trouble more than anyone else. It was because they saw that I could do it, and other people just did.
You weren't like Superman, but you just wouldn't quit.
Yeah, exactly. And keep in mind, like when I went in there like 5'7", 230, bro, I was fucking fat, like, and I came out of there like I don't know 5'8" and a half and 200, and I was
They work it
beefy, I
off
was
you.
ripped as shit. Like I was surprised, man, cause like, and I wouldn't have been there if they didn't push me extra hard. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't have gotten those results if I wasn't pushed like that. You know what I mean?
True indeed. So let me ask you, Champ, when you were inside of the military school, at what point did you start to think I want to do this for real today?
Well, that's a good question because I couldn't really. I'd say more towards the end, 2/3 the way through. I thought this is I'd thrive in this environment, but I want to go home. My number one goal was like I just want to get out of here. I'm gonna get so much pussy when I get out of here. You know, I was just that's all I was thinking about, bro. I'm gonna get so much pussy. I'm about to get out of this bitch. You know what I mean? That's literally.
Rumble, young man, rumble.
And like I said, the military didn't really pique my interest until I don't know, quite recently for me. I saw it as an option, but like not my first option. Fast forward to like now, right? Well, let's just say before Thanksgiving of 2020, and I get contacted by a Marine recruiter. And he's like, "Hey, we want you to join the Marines." And I told him, first of all, I'm not in the shape I used to be, man. I probably gained like 15 pounds out of shape, but nothing unrecoverable, like I could get in shape quite easy, if I really tried. But it's just a merit that I don't want to join the Marines, I just don't think I'd fit in, I'd be like an outlier, you know what I mean? Because like I don't want to do that shit,
Right.
because that's just not me personally, nothing against the
Right.
Marines, it's
Right.
just
No,
not,
no, no.
yeah.
Right.
Hey, maybe call me back, but really I was just saying that so they'd get off my back, you know, because I didn't want to join the Marines. And then this Navy recruiter calls my mom because he didn't have my number, and my mom just like, oh, I'm not gonna ask my son if he wants to get called by this recruiter. She just volunteered my phone number to this fucking recruiter. I'm like, wow, thanks, mom. Like, volunteering my fucking phone number. And
Giving out my government
yeah,
to the government.
exactly. And so this guy from the Navy, he calls me. He's really chill, and he's like, "Hey, so do you have a plan after high school?" You know, all the recruiters say that. I'm like, "Well,
Right.
kinda, you know, but not really." And so he's just like, "Come in." He's like, "You don't have to join if you don't want to." He's very cordial, very chill. He wasn't pushing me or anything. He was just like,
The United States Marine Corps is a department of
"Yeah."
the Navy.
Well, he told me
So when you
like,
get to the Navy, they're cool at first, but when you living on ship is not for the it's not for weak people.
yeah, no, like I have nothing against being on a ship or anything like that. You know what I mean? I got nothing. Like I don't get seasick, so it's not a big issue. But that wasn't my original thought. So this recruiter was like, "Hey man," like he was telling me, "Oh, you don't have to if you don't want to," but he said he'd think I'd be a good sailor, you know, with my determination. And so the military school I went to was through the National Guard. So whatever, like, cause you know, like, if you do special things like you're Eagle Scout or something, you get like perks or whatever. You get like E2 or E3. National Guard it does, just not for the Navy because it's through the National Guard.
Oh,
So,
I got you.
so
I didn't know that.
if I went through the National Guard, I would have gotten E2 or E3, but because it was state run, like it was ran by the National Guard.
Yeah, because the National Guard is technically
Yeah,
civilians under the state.
yeah. So technically, I couldn't get anything for it, you know. And so he's like, "Yeah, man, here's the ASVAB, practice ASVAB," and I took it at home. And he said, "Hey, you got a good score, you know," and he's like, "All right, take the test for real this time." And I got better on the actual test than I did the practice test.
So they let you take a practice test at home. He gave you the practice test?
Yeah, and then he made me take the real test at home because of COVID.
Nice.
So I took the actual test at home. It's called the PICAT. It's not the same as the ASVAB, but it's pretty similar. There's no time limit. You can take as long as you want. You know
Right.
what I mean? Online, you put in your social security number. You take the test on the computer.
What's it called?
It's called the PICAT. It's just
The
like
what?
the ASVAB. The PICAT, PICAT, PICAT.
So anybody hearing that has interest, much like you, should probably look into that, see kind of what it's like. No?
Yeah.
So I just want to say a few things as we finish up here. It's interesting to me that when you got into the military school, even you acknowledged that you were getting put on your face, not because you were weak or anything, but actually they saw the strength in you. In you. Like they saw in you that you won't quit. They saw in you that they could put you through the ringer and you wouldn't ring the bell and tap out like many of the other students did. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. And that's why, so there's a few drill instructors there that are really fucking hardcore. Like, you would not want to fuck with these guys. They'd rip you in half. Like, 6 feet tall. Like, they'll
Oh, I
fucking
noticed.
kill you.
I'm well aware.
Yeah,
I'm well aware of the real deal.
yeah. And so these guys, you know, I was surprised that they liked me because they're like, hey, you inspire me. And that's why they didn't yell at me that much, was because they said I inspired them.
Well, see, this is
Surprised
what I
me.
wanted to talk to you about because I think that was surprising to you, but I'm aware of this and I think it's of interest, especially to anyone else who might be in your position, trying to start out with thinking about walking this path. Um, they saw in you that you wouldn't quit. Now, later on, you spoke to an actual naval recruiter who said to you, I think you'll make a good sailor. And the term he used was because of your determination. Now, I just want to say to you that, especially in boot camp in the military, when you're a Greenleaf, when you're starting out, there's a couple of types that the military is used to receiving. You'll get the overachieving kid.
Mhm.
And when you get an overachiever, sometimes they're cocky and arrogant, but usually not. They're just overachievers. They're trying real hard to live up to grandpa's rep or dad's rep or
Mhm.
whatever, you know? And they overachieve. Like they're always, I'm not talking about the brown nose. I'm talking about,
Mhm.
you know, the guy who's always Johnny A ball squared away all the time,
Yeah,
right?
that's not me, bro. That's definitely
No,
not
no,
me.
no, no, no. You don't fit there. But you saw this type.
Yeah, for sure.
That was like the platoon guide or something like that. You saw
Mhm.
those types.
Yeah.
They're rare. They are rare. Then there's the other type, the shitbag, the scammer and shitbag, who actually, when you put them under pressure, they crack, they fold, they can't take the pressure. You saw them quit. Then you have your type. And everything you said today, and from what I've seen in life, you have like the Tom Brady type, where it is you have someone like Tom Brady who was like literally like one of the last draft picks in the NFL. Like no one wanted him. Even the Patriots when they got him, like barely. Like you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But he himself always said to himself from the beginning, I'm not gonna quit. And when I get my opportunity, my time to shine, I'm gonna go with it. That's self-determination. There was a boxer named Bernard Hopkins who learned boxing in Pennsylvania Penitentiary. He was a young kid. He was a stick-up kid, shit like that. He used to rob drug dealers. Good with his hands, real tough kid. He got pinched. He goes in, do state time, state prison, penitentiary, and he picked up boxing. He comes out, loses his first professional fight. He then goes on to become, I believe, the longest reigning middleweight champion of all times. Today, old man Bernard Hopkins is known as the Executioner by some and as the Alien by others. Executioner because of how awesome he is as a boxer. The Alien because the dude was holding the title well into, he almost had an AARP card before he retired. That's how good he was. And all of this to me applies to you because it's all about self determination. If you really want something, if you really want to do something, nothing, not money, not your body, not how you think about the world, yourself, a girlfriend, nothing will be able to hold you back if you bite down on your mouthpiece called determination. You bite down and say, I'm going to fucking do this. And the most important thing about that is obviously you making the decision to do it. But here's what I got to tell you. People who you don't know, who are more advanced, in this case, your drill instructors, who all of them were probably veterans and that did this already. They were National Guard guys, no?
They were from all branches, but this was like not, they weren't active duty at the time, so they
Right.
came back and did this as their job, like a civilian
So
job.
these were men and women who had been in the military, been to combat, seen it, did
Yeah.
it, and they looked at a bunch of puppies. And when they looked at you, they didn't see an overachiever. Like you said, you just went there to get credits so that you can graduate. You wasn't really into it. But then they looked at you and realized you're dependable because by yourself, you won't quit. You see yourself, you looked at yourself before you went there, and you still got on the bus. You still walked through the doors. You still took the brief and said, I don't want to go home, I'll stay. Now, that's a man that you can depend on. If you can show him the ropes and get him to actually learn the job and do it, he is a future leader. He is someone you can give missions to, or even, someone like him, you can give a woman or a man like him who has determination. He or she will not quit. He or she will not let you down. And that's what your drill instructors saw in you when you were chubby, and yet you still got on your face. That's what they saw in you in the morning when you woke up and they could tell you were tired and were thinking about going home, but you stayed. You did the drill. That's what they saw in you. That's what your recruiter saw in you when he said, I think because of your determination, you'll make a good sailor. Not because of who your dad was or because
Hmm.
your uncle was a sailor or whatever. He looked in you and saw this kid may not want to do this, he may not want to do that, but whatever he decides he wants to do, he'll stick it out. And that's someone that you can depend on.